Hello everyone, welcome to another online recorded video discussion regarding our topic in PRED 161, Lesson 4.3, Grading and Reporting of Assessment Results. So welcome to our session on grading and reporting system. And in today's discussion, we will explore on how are we going to translate student performance into meaningful data, and more importantly, how we communicate that data to stakeholders. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the principles of effective grading, the purposes of reporting, and especially how to conduct successful parent-teacher conferences as future educators, diba? Especially in DepEd. Now, before we dive in to the how are we going to grade and conduct the reporting of these assessment results, let us understand and define some key concepts. Let's start with grading. So what is grading? So this is a process of assigning a numerical value, letter, or symbol to represent student knowledge and performance. So essentially, this is what we call the degree of measurement. Now, talk about naman reporting, it is the communication process and how we share what students have learned with parents and others. So if you're going to analyze it further, these two terms are very different from each other because grading is a process of assigning a numerical value, could be a letter or a symbol. Meanwhile, reporting is more on communication. Now, grading, remember that grading isn't just about marking papers. We have to always remember that it should be fair and valid. Now, according to some author, Tomlinson and McFly, there are several key principles that we should follow. Number one, goal oriented. We have to remember that grades must be based on clearly specified learning goals and performance standards. So always remember the most priority why we grade our student is based on were they able to met and achieve the learning goals and the performance standards that was set by the curriculum. Okay. Next is valid evidence. So the evidence you use for grading must truly reflect the student's mastery of the subject. Kumbaga, yung ginagamit mong mga data no for grading are really coming from the performances of the students. Gone are those days wherein teachers are just magician, wherein they will just going to create grades for the purpose of students having grades. So in in today's educational system, we must embrace evidence-based and, of course, transparency. Next is criterion based. Grading should be based on established criteria rather than comparing students to one another. Although we discussed already, diba, two forms or two types, in four types, diba, of grading students. So we have there pass or fail, numerical or letter grade. Then we also have normative and criterion. But it is recommendable that our grading should always be based on established criteria. Is compared to comparing it to the performance of another student. So that's um, norm reference criterion. So therefore, in the principles of fair and effective grading, we must use criterion reference na grading. Next is achievement focus. We have to avoid grading based on averages. So we have to focus on actual achievement and report other factors like behavior or effort separately, especially in DepEd, wherein it's not just only academic that is included in grading, but also non-academic. But we have to, according here, now in this principle, that we must focus only on actual achievement and we must report other factors separately like the behavior or the effort. Next is selectivity. Remember, not every single activity needs to be included in the final grade. And I think we already know this one no, from our previous discussion wherein we have two two assessments no that we usually do in DepEd. So we have formative and summative, but talk about what is recorded and is used for grading, that is only summative or in formative, although it is being recorded but it is not used for grading. So that's what we call selectivity. So now, why do we grade and report? So why do we go through this process? Remember that we go through this um kumbaga tedious process because it serves several major functions. Number one, it enhances learning. It helps clarify instructional objectives and it shows students their strengths and weaknesses and increases motivation. So that's the reason why we grade and report, for us to be able to understand if were they able to meet these instructional objectives, and if there are a need for us to improve these instructional objectives. And of course, for students, it allows them to understand whether what are their strengths and weaknesses, what are the things that they need to improve, and especially if that student is kumbaga, accepting of these feedbacks. So it also increases motivation. Next is it allows parents to see how well objectives are being met so they can better help their child at home. So it also provides feedback to our parents. It also helps, um, I mean, um, reporting these grades of the students fosters parent communication. Kumbaga, it allows parents to be involved, especially that they are also responsible by educating their child. So, if they know how these objectives are being met, then perhaps they can also help their children at home. Okay, next is administrative and guidance uses. So grades are used to decide promotion, graduation honors, and even athletic eligibility. They also provide data for vocational and personal counseling. So of course, aside from all of these things that enhances learning, that provides parental communication, grades are also used in deciding for promotion, graduation, honors, or even athletic eligibility. Diba? Kasi before we can promote a student, 'di ba, to a more higher grade level, we must, 'di ba, we use grades as our basis. If wala ba sila'y hagbong, wala ba sila'y duha, two or more na mga subjects na below 75, 'di ba? Then if they are eligible ba for graduation and if they are also part of the honor rolls. And even athletic eligibility, because especially for example in college, you cannot play in athletic kumbaga mga games if you have a failing grade. So that's the administrative use of that one. For guidance naman, it provides us data for vocational and personal counseling, di ba? That's the reason why we take NKAI, kasi the data that we have in NKAI could be used, no, for us to understand what are our strengths and weaknesses, and in what vocation or career do we excel more, knowing our performance through our grades. Now, let's proceed to the methods of reporting. Now, reporting isn't just a report card. While the report card is the standard method, there are many other tools. So we have number one, written progress report. So these can be sent weekly or monthly to provide more frequent updates. So this is usually done in elementary, wherein a part of their assignment is also like progress report written by the teacher. Now, usually it's done in private schools kasi in public, considering na madaming hinahandle yung teacher, sometimes they don't have the time to write progress reports. But usually, it is very ideal that we do this, diba? Para at least na ay frequent updates on parents if their um, students ba are um, being serious in their studies or not, diba? Or the otherwise. The next, the thing that is very um, observable and familiar in depth ed is portfolios and exhibits. So showing showing actual student work to provide a deeper story of their progress. So that's what usually DepEd do every after the quarter. They conduct portfolio, diba? And hold parent-teacher conferences to not just kumaga inform the parents the performances of their students, but to also show the works of their child, diba? Next is parent-teacher conference. Now, one of the most critical parts of reporting is the parent-teacher conference. So, to make this successful, teachers should follow three-phase approach. So, what are these three-phase approach? So, usually before, during, and after. So, let's proceed to before the conference. So, of course, if we're going to conduct a parent-teacher conference, we must not forget to notify parents well in advance and schedule times that are convenient for them. Because remember, not all parents, no, are available on that every day. So that's why we have to notify parents in advance so that if they have work, no, they can file a leave or they can prioritize that date that you set for you to have that parent teacher conference. Next is gather multiple samples of student work to show progress. So of course, if you want to report the performances of the progress of students, we should not just only use one sample because that will not show the progress, but rather we must ga- uh, we must use and gather a lot of samples for us to really or for them to also see or para na kayo mapakita sa progress sa bata. Next is establish a professional yet comfortable and private setting. So of course, considering that you will be discussing a very sensitive and kumbaga very crucial no na part sa learning sa mga bata. So of course, you must maintain or you must establish a professional setting um but comfortable and also like private, no? Considering that grades are part of data that is protected, 'di ba? Under Data Privacy Act. So we must make sure that we discuss all of these things privately for us not to violate that law. Next is, what about during the conference? So always remember that when the time comes that you will now conduct the conference, you have to start positive. Always open with positive feedback. Do not start with negative feedback because that will ruin, diba, the environment. That will ruin the mood. So that's why we have to always open it with positive feedback. Next is be objective. Because sometimes if we are on the verge of emotion, especially if like um naglagot ta sa mga bata, no? Or perhaps nakakay kasuko or na something sa imong heart towards the students, sometimes that could also affect the whole setting. So that's why in conducting conference, especially during conference, we have to be objective. We have to stick to predefined competencies and cite specific examples. Or perhaps you have to stick to the agenda. Next is active listening. Don't project an omniscient image. So of course, since it's a parent-teacher discussion, hindi yun magiging parent-teacher discussion kung walang parents. So you have to listen to the parents, especially their concerns, and also involve them in the discussion. Okay, so they are not there for your lecture. Okay, they are with you in that room for you to talk about how can you and them kumbaga um help. How can you and the parents can help one another, 'di ba, in improving or in delivering a quality education for the students or for their child. And next is avoid jargon. Speak clearly and avoid educational terms that might confuse parents. Now, we also have to remember that not all parents are well educated. So, dapat in the language that we're going to use sa parent-teacher conference should be the language that is comfortable, not just only by some but for everyone, nga kanang makasabot sila. Kasi walang gamit if unsa pa ka positive, unsa pa ka kanindot mosulti dira if wala sila nasabtan. Especially sa imong ginagamit na mga words or perhaps ginagamit na language. Now, after the conference, we have to follow up on any concerns raised. Kumbaga, if na mga concern nga na-raise and if the body was able to create a decision on how to solve or to resolve that issue, then perhaps from time to time, you have to follow up on these concerns. If they were able but to be resolved effectively, what are the things that need to be done furthermore for that concern to be resolved. Sumana na siya. Na encourage parents to discuss the meeting with their child at home. So, of course, since there are things that are discussed no in the parents teacher conference na kanang beyond the knowledge of the child, so we have to encourage parents to discuss these important things that was raised in the conference with their child, for at least the child maka understand what happened in the conference, what are the things that are needed of them to do. Kasi anyways, parents teacher conference are not created for anyone, 'di ba? It's created for their child. So at least if naman gani mga things na hisgutan, especially in terms of how to improve the performance of the child, so at least they communicate it, no, or discuss it at home. The next is debrief with colleagues to see how you can improve for next time. So at least you also ask your colleagues, no, on how can you improve for next time. You ask, you communicate with your colleagues, especially those colleagues na um I mean, ahead nimo or senior, because of course they already have a lot of experiences that you can get and you can learn para ma-improve ang imong pag-handle sa mga parents next time, because nobody's perfect. Okay? Every experiences are, kumbaga, it teaches us something. So that's why na at least we have someone to ask, no, in helping us to improve. Now, in conclusion, reading and reporting are about more than just numbers. They are about telling a meaningful story of a student's journey, and by following those principles we have discussed, we ensure that our assessments are fair, transparent, and most importantly, helpful for the students' growth. And that's it for our online video discussion. I hope that you have learned something. Thank you so much for watching and keep learning.